Ron DeSantis pulled up to the Republican National Convention for his speech. I want to get into that. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis.
My fellow Republicans, let's send Joe Biden back to his basement and let's send Donald Trump back to the White House.
Amber Rose came out with a better opening line,
Life
but okay.
was more affordable when Donald Trump was president. Our border was safer under the Trump administration, and our country was respected when...
Let me also say this, and I'm going to let him get it off on a speech. I'm going to let him get it in. Let me give Obama some credit. Our country was safer with Obama at the helm as far as our borders being under control, and that's why they called Obama the deporter-in-chief. Obama played no games. He was catching hell from the left as well as the right. Well, not so much the right, but he was definitely catching hell from the left with regard to his border policies because he was getting them up out of there. So I will give both Trump and Obama credit on that particular issue and that our borders were safer with Obama at the helm and with Trump at the helm. And that's just a fact.
Donald Trump was our commander-in-chief. Joe Biden has failed this nation. As a veteran, I was appalled when 13 of our service members were killed in Afghanistan due to Joe Biden's dereliction of duty. As a citizen, as a husband, and as a father, I am alarmed that the current president of the United States lacks the capability to discharge the duties of his office. Our enemies do not confine their designs to between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
It's so stupid.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Biden is just a figurehead. He's a tool for imposing a leftist agenda on the American people.
That's true.
They support open borders, allowing millions and millions of illegal aliens to pour into our country and to burden our communities, but just don't send any to Martha's Vineyard, then they get really upset. They have unleashed progressive prosecutors across our nation who care more about coddling criminals than about protecting their own communities. They use the unelected bureaucracy to impose their will on us without our consent, and they weaponize political power to target their political opponents like they've done to our own nominee.
And they have. That's one of the biggest things about the Democratic Party as they continue to unravel and fall apart, is that when we talk about election interference, for some reason we only get this one thing in our head and we say, well, that's whether or not they interfering at the ballot box. No, election interference is them conspiring to remove him off of the ballot in the first place. Election interference is also them trying to work in cahoots with the different governors and the secretaries of state to try to get him off of the ballots in the first place. Election interference is also them putting all of these political prosecution and these charges against him in all of these different states to try to prevent him from being able to run for president in the first place. Election interference is real on the left side, absolutely 100%. And I think that Ron DeSantis has probably got a bigger stake in his fight, considering that Florida is one of the places where it's a lot of immigration into the state. So I rock with everything that he's saying right now.
They want to ban gas automobiles, eliminate Second Amendment rights, and impose gender ideology on everyone from our infantrymen to kindergartners.
Shout out to Dwayne Wade.
They stand for DEI, which really means division, exclusion, and indoctrination, and it is wrong.
Facts. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is racist in itself.
They mandated that you show proof of a COVID vaccine to go to a restaurant, but they oppose requiring proof of citizenship to cast a vote.
He cooking, ain't he? He cooking. He cooking.
They can't even define what a woman is.
He cooking.
Now, Donald Trump stands in their way, and he stands up for America. Donald Trump has been demonized. He's been sued. He's been prosecuted, and he nearly lost his life. We cannot let him down, and we cannot let America down.
Came out swinging.
It is the values of this Republican Party that reflect our nation's founding principles. We believe schools should educate, not indoctrinate.
Facts.
We stand for parents' rights, including universal school choice. We support law and order, not rioting and disorder. We seek a strong, focused United States military, not one distracted by a social agenda. We reject entrenched political class, and we demand term limits for members of Congress.
That is absolutely, positively, 100% one of the things that I think that is very, very underrated as far as a comment, and I'm glad that he actually spoke on that. We need term limits for Congress. These lifetime positions for Congress members, while they only get 8 years and 2 terms for the President of the United States, a Congress member could basically become a lifetime beneficiary of the federal government while getting rich in the process. That is unlimited power. I believe that the most powerful position in the United States of America is not even a president of the United States of America, it's the Congress members. Have you noticed that no Congress member ever really runs for president of the United States of America? Very rarely do you see somebody that is in Congress that is willing to give up that position. They will fight tooth, nail, spend any amount of donors' money to stay in that position. And it's funny because when I used to watch House of Cards back when Kevin Spacey was on it, now it's a good one, he said it is more important for you to go for power than to go for money. Absolutely should be term limits on Congress members. I don't even think that that's something that a liberal would fight against. Both liberals and conservatives, Republicans and Democrats, independents, progressives, libertarians, whatever it is, librarians, I don't care what you are. We all 100 should fundamentally agree that there should be term limits on any position within the federal government, including Congress. 100%, bro.
We stand for fiscal sanity, for low taxes, and for reduced debt. We seek to reclaim the constitutional government as envisioned by our founding fathers by bringing the administrative state to heel once and for all. We believe that you must be a citizen in order to vote, and that photo ID should be required before casting a ballot.
I agree, because we don't even know who's at the polls casting ballots.
We stand for strong borders and believe that our nation must have a shared civic culture, and we oppose any immigration that stands apart or in contrast to our American values. We believe in the principles articulated in the Declaration of Independence that our rights come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of the Almighty, including the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, none of this is easy, but it can be done. For decades, my home state saw elections determined by razor-thin margins. Today, due to bold leadership, the Democratic Party lies in ruins. The left is in retreat. Freedom reigns supreme. The woke mind virus is dead, and Florida is a solid Republican state.
Not if they can get more Californians to continue to move there.
Now, electing Donald Trump gives us the chance to do this all across America. And we have a responsibility to step up and make it happen. We have a responsibility to preserve what George Washington called the sacred fire of liberty. This was a fire that burned in Independence Hall in 1776 when 56 men pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to establish this nation. It's a fire that burned at a cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, when our nation's first Republican president pledged this nation to a new birth of freedom. It's a fire that burned at the foot of the Berlin Wall in 1987, when our nation's 40th president stood in front of that wall and said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." This is not a responsibility we should fear. It's a responsibility we should welcome.
Thank you for the super chats. I'm going to read it shortly.
If not us, who? And if not now, when? Let's make the 45th President of the United States the 47th President of the United States.
45, 47.
Let's elect Republicans up and down the ballot, and let's heed the call of our party's nominee to fight, fight, fight for these United States. Thank you.
I will say that I don't think that it's a better time to be a Republican than now. The Democratic Party is in absolute ruins. It is in absolute ruins, and I don't even think that that's debatable. It's so much infighting. They don't know where they're going to go. They elected somebody that had aged out. They didn't know that the incumbent was going to be having early signs of dementia. Now you got people like Amber Rose deflecting from the party. All of the rappers are deflecting from the party. So when they was dependent on your ignorance, now you can't even depend on that anymore. And I think that the Republican Party has been more unified than any other time in history. And I think that you're starting to see that reflected in what's happening. And so unification is the way to success. And Ron DeSantis is an example of it.